And next we have Attack Protocol, a LitRPG Space Marine Adventure Omicron Sector Book number 3, written by A.M. Reynolds. This is 88 pages. It's 99 cents. It is available on Kindle Unlimited. And here's the author's description. Captain Aaron Taylor and his crew have been stuck in Omicron Sector, the most popular sci-fi MMORPG available, for approaching 24 hours. If they are stuck too much longer, their bodies might start feeling the effects of dehydration or worse. Tempers flare and anxieties are building. To make matters worse, the mysterious Rand Aktar is keeping Aaron's teammate Colin in medical quarantine. What other secrets is he keeping? In this rousing conclusion to the Omicron Sector Trilogy, Aaron and his team have to figure out a way to free their friend, fight back the alien menace, and if they're lucky enough to log out of the game and go home. So there we go. The author says this book is a novella-length short story written for fans of Halo, Warhammer 40k, and Destiny, and is a Space Marine LitRPG story. So there we go. Okay, full disclosure, I got an advanced copy for review. I purchased the copy when it became available. Here's the review. It's honestly been a little bit of a time since the last story came out, since book 2 became, I think, like a year and a half. And to be honest, I had kind of a hard time getting back into the story. And this is kind of a negative for a short story because you don't have a lot of time with the story in the first place. But eventually everything clicked back in place. I'm like, oh yeah, that's who that guy is. This is what it should look like. But I kind of had a hard time revisualizing what the people looked like, what their spaceship looked like, what the space station looked like. And it would have been nice to kind of have like a little bit of a more descriptive element in the beginning of the story, just to kind of reinvigorate my imagination of what everything's supposed to. And that's mostly because, again, it's been like a year and a half since I read book 2 in this series or so. But other than that, like I said, eventually kind of clicks back into place. The premise really isn't that complicated. Again, virtual reality game gone wrong, group trapped in a game, weird virus changing players into monsters, and maybe aliens trying to evade from another dimension. So some very interesting story concepts there. Overall, this is mostly just action adventure. The action stuff is good. Space battles, sci-fi weapons, RPG, MMO powers. The actual RPG stuff in book 3 is a little lighter than I probably would have liked. But I can get that the author's trying to tie things up, so he doesn't want to invest a ton of time in his short story, leveling people up necessarily. So, but the game mechanics are still there. Levels, health, that kind of stuff, armor, ability. It leans a little more towards sci-fi. However, the cyberpunk invading alien aspect is kind of my least favorite part of the story. And it's not that that concept isn't cool. It's that those entities break the RPG rules that are established. And that always bugs me when you take the time to establish RPG rules and then you twist them or you break them because of some other influence. I'm like, oh, then what's the point of having them sometimes? It wasn't bad enough that it broke the story for me, but when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's annoying. Still, while this isn't my favorite entry in the series, that would be book 1, it was entertaining, and it was a nice cap to the short story series. So I had a good time with it. It gets a score of 7.1 out of 10. That's Attack Protocol, a LitRPG Space Marine Adventure Omicron Sector book number 3 with a score of 7.1 out of 10.